Author, recommended for readers over 18 years old. Introduction, end of the text. OVO will be updated in the extra day. Wen Yu's pursuit of Xiao Sixan is not out of sincerity, but just to be angry with his ex-girlfriend. In her eyes, Xiao Sixan is worthless. But they became each other's wives because of a commercial marriage. Xiao Sixan likes her and treats her with all her heart. And she didn't wake up until Xiao Sixan died. It turns out that Xiao Sixan is the one who loves her the most in this world. She regrets it. If life can be repeated, she will never fail Xiao Sixan again. In the end, she was really reborn. This time, she will never let go of Xiao Sixan again. But before she was too happy, she saw Xiao Sixan holding her sister Wen's Haihan's arm and smiling. Then Wen's Haihan said to her, "Come on, call your sister-in-law." Wen Yu? Xiao Ci treats others in a bad way. She lost her soul and was in a state of embarrassment, knowing that she had fed the dog with all her true feelings. Then suffered an accident and died unexpectedly. Then, she was reborn. Life restarted, she vowed never to take the old road of a lifetime. Warm? Dog woman crawl for me. Marriage? Wen's Haihan such a gentle and pure beauty is more fragrant? However, after getting along, she realized Wen's Haihan is not a gentle and innocent person at all. Updated at 2100 hours every day / ask for leave rebirth / same-sex marriage / love after marriage / broken mirror logic serves the plot / the three views of the characters are not the same as the author's three views / reject the clean party. Please do not substitute any real person. Scarf at Gugu. Is it too hot to faint today? Content tags, sweet articles. Search keywords, protagonist, Xiao Sixan, Wen's Haihan supporting role, others. One sentence introduction, I am also reborn. Intention, embrace your own brilliance, do not have to accommodate the rainbow of others. The dense night of Fengcheng enveloped the icy cold winter, and Xiao Sixan stood under the Chunye apartment building, motionless. Her pretty face was red from the cold, and her figure was elongated by the lonely street lamp. The surroundings were silent except for the sound of the cold wind blowing. No one passed by, so she stood silently under the dead tree, like a wandering soul who didn't want to leave. Ah! Sudden sneeze broke the silence. She blew her red nose. The temperature tonight is lower than usual. She came in a hurry and only wrapped a coat, which was not warm enough, so if she stood like this, she doubted that she could be frozen until she died young. But she didn't want to leave yet. Neither the idea of leaving nor the courage to walk into Chunye's apartment. Because she heard that Wen Yu is here, and her righteous wife is here. With another woman. Ah! She sneezed again, rubbed her hands in the cold, raised her eyes and stared at the door of the apartment. The cold wind swept across her cheeks, and it was so painful that she couldn't lift herself up. Anxiety, doubt, worry, fear, countless emotions were tightly surrounding her like vines, making her unconsciously stay in place. Actually, she doesn't know what to do next. She didn't even think about it, this kind of would also fall on her. She met Wen Yu in college and has always liked Wen Yu. Wen Yu likes good girls, so she restrains her flamboyant personality and becomes a good girl. The day Wen Yu proposed to date, she was overjoyed and suspected that she was dreaming. Just a year ago, they got married and became each other's lifelong partners. Everything is wonderful. She thought they were in love, going both ways, and ending from the same. But now there are indications that all that may be just her wishful thinking. She didn't know how she believed that, and why she went to Chunye apartment stupidly. Probably because Wen Yu didn't respond enthusiastically to her, like a lover. It's probably because Tian Jiehe, the ex-girlfriend Wen Yu likes very much, really lives here. So what should she do now? Go in, find Tian Jiehe's house, and see if Wen Yu is inside? Or call Wen Yu and ask her where she is? She doesn't know. She is a little confused now, her emotions are overwhelmed, and she cannot be at peace. But at this time, there will still be a glimmer of hope in the heart. Xiao Xi still hoped in her heart that the rumor was just nonsense. Wen Yu was not here, she did not cheat. Their beginning was first proposed by Wen Yu. If Wen Yu has always liked Tian Jiehe and disliked her, why bother? Yes, if Wen Yu didn't like her, why did he talk to her in the first place, and then easily agree to marry her? Thinking of this, she suddenly forgot how cold the cold wind was. Wen Yu, don't let me down. The fabric rubs. Xiao Sixen raised one foot. The next moment, two people came out of the apartment, and her footsteps stopped abruptly. The short-haired woman walking in front has a beautiful face. That's what Xiao Sixen liked for a long time. Wen Yu. Behind Wen Yu, she was following Xiao Sixen's most familiar rival, Tian Jiehe. Everything that happened next seemed to confirm what Xiao Sixen was most worried about. Wen Yu turned around and hugged Tian Jiehe, kissing her forehead generously and tenderly. Tian Jiehe smiled at her, stroked her hair, and acted affectionately, as if they had done it thousands of times. She is more like a gentle wife than she is. Xiao Xi felt a sudden rush of thunder, her heart was blocked, and she couldn't breathe. The eyes looked at everything in front of her in astonishment, unable to move away. That was something she could not deny. The next moment, anger menacingly covered up all emotions, and the feeling of being betrayed rushed into my heart, arrogantly occupying every inch of reason. Again, her feet have stepped out uncontrollably. Sweet. Her voice was full of anger, even a little trembling. Wen Yu obviously didn't expect Xiao Sixen to appear here, but she wasn't too shocked, and she didn't feel ashamed of being caught. She just frowned slightly and asked dissatisfiedly, "What are you doing?" Xiao Sixen asked, "What are you and Tian Jiehe doing?" Wen Yu protects Tian Jiehe, who is obedient, and his expression remains unchanged. Nothing to say, mercy, divorce. She spoke lightly, as if divorce was just a trivial matter for her. Xiao Sixen was stunned and heartbroken, and she didn't even know whether it was the cold wind tonight or Wen Yu who was colder. How on earth are you able to say this so calmly? Am I nothing to you? Xiao Sixen had a dry throat and looked at her in disbelief. Yes. Looking at her tenderly and calmly. You mean nothing to me, always. Xiao Xi was stunned when she heard the words, and all the good things in the past were smashed at this moment. For a long time, she opened her mouth blankly and asked, "Then why did you still associate with me? Since it's nothing, why did you initiate a relationship in the first place? Isn't it absurd to force yourself to be with someone you don't like?" Wen Yu mentioned the past without changing his face, as if he was talking about the past of others. I didn't date you because I liked it, but because I lost a bet, and I was having a dispute with Jiehe at that time. It was just a momentary talk. Even marriage is the same. Mingzhen, the only person I liked from the very beginning was Jiehe. So we will leave this marriage, understand? After she finished speaking, Tian Jiehe, who was protecting her, held her hand, and her eyes were moved. They looked at each other affectionately, only each other in their eyes. In an instant, Xiao Sixen, the righteous wife, became the most redundant and ironic existence. Xiao Xi's heart hummed, and it went blank. The gentle words fell on her ear one after another, lingering at her like a knife. Whisper. She can't even see the guilt for this angry word on her face. You. Xiao Xi's eyes were red. You don't like me at all. The answer to her was a gentle determination. No, not at all. Xiao Sixen looked at her calm face, not even, without a trace of guilt. Wen Yu suddenly asked, "Why do you feel guilty? You like me, so I'm dating and marrying you, isn't that what you want? I've already helped you realize your dream, so why feel guilty?" Xiao Sixen was deeply shocked after hearing this remark. This is really scumbag, and it makes me cry. What does she want? What does it mean to help her realize her dream? How could she say such a ridiculous argument? The cold wind whistled past, mercilessly slapping Xiao Sixen's slender body. The fingertips are cold, and the limbs are all cold, so cold. Xiao Ci looked at the sweetheart in front of her with red eyes, and then lowered her eyes. There was no joy in her eyes when she saw her before, the originally bright eyes gradually dimmed with the lowered eyelids, and finally there was only cold disappointment. A tear slipped quietly, and all the love disappeared here. I don't need this handout. The voice fell. Xiao Sixen turned and left. No one came after her. She started the car numbly, but she couldn't cry, as if the tears she just shed had taken away all her strength. The love she wants is consensual, from one to the end. The car drives across the road. Xiao Sixen controlled the steering wheel with only one hand, leaving a small red mark on her white forearm. It was accidentally burned when she was just eating. She didn't even have time to deal with it, she ran out to find Wen Yu, and finally witnessed the scene of his wife's cheating. She sighed heavily. The things related to Wen Yu in the past cannot help but replay in my mind over and over again. Wen Yu likes Tian Jiehe, but the two often have conflicts. Wen Yu often asked her to go out to drink and relieve boredom because of this incident. Wen Yu also cried in front of Tian Jiehe for Tian Jiehe. Before today, she hated Wen Yu crying the most, and when she cried, she felt distressed and soft-hearted. At those times, she also persuaded Wen Yu to let go of Tian Jiehe. Wen Yu always shook his head and then remained silent. She thought that Wen Yu would never let Tian Jiehe go in her life, and they would never be possible again. But I didn't expect Wen Yu to choose to date her after breaking up with Tian Jiehe. The world is always unexpected. She used to be an actress. When her acting career was booming, the Shao family had an accident and needed external help to tide over the difficulty, so the two proposed to marry and become one camp. The person in charge of the marriage is the one they are dating. At that time, Wen Yu said that she did not like actors, and if she could let go of her career, she would marry. For the Shao family and for her sweetheart, Xiao Sixen resolutely quit the show business when her career was on the rise. Wen Yu didn't break her promise, she really married her. The joy at that time was really joy. The despair of today is better than the joy of the past. Wen Yu has a deep love for Tian Jiehe. Isn't she in love with Wen Yu? She is always gentle and kind to Wen Yu, she is always on call, and she even gives up her great career for her. But when she recalled the affectionate look at Wen Yu and Tian Jiehe just now, she felt nauseated. What a pair of scumbags! One doesn't take other people's sincerity seriously, and one destroys other people's family but has no guilt. What did she do wrong to be involved in the two of them? There was strong hatred in her eyes, and her fingertips trembled slightly. Xiao Sixen was both sad and angry at the moment. She wants to change this bad situation, but she can't calm down and think about what to do now. Go back first, go back and talk about it. Thinking like this, she forced herself to put away her messy thoughts. The next second, a flash of headlights robbed her of all her attention. In front of her, a huge truck suddenly changed lanes and drove towards her, as if out of control. She widened her eyes in surprise and hurriedly turned the steering wheel. Boom! It's too late. Broken glass. The car that was squeezed out of shape. Xiao Ci sat on the driver's seat with a dying breath, bleeding like a stream. The world outside the car is noisy, but she feels empty and isolated. She glanced out the window vaguely, and vaguely saw a drunk man staggering out of the truck. She couldn't see the man's face clearly, her eyelids were heavy, and in the end she couldn't hold it any longer and fell completely into eternal darkness. It all ends here. It seems that God doesn't like me very much. That was the last thing she thought before closing her eyes. The breathing stopped completely, and the body became light, like a mass of air without weight. Xiao Sixen felt as if she had been pulled out of her body and thrown into the void. In this void, she was confused, like floating on the sea, not knowing where she was or who she was. So Xiao Sixen faintly felt that she had been in a certain place for a long time, so long that she couldn't calculate, so long that there was no logic, like a messy dream. Until one day, a beam of light tore the darkness. She saw the light after a long time, and the light gradually expanded from a small point, constantly approaching her. Like the inescapable headlights that day. The nightmare struck, Xiao Sixen instinctively retreated in panic. The dazzling mouth of light expanded and became more and more aggressive, chasing after her, and finally opened her mouth like a monster, swallowing her up in an instant. Don't! Xiao Sixen opened her eyes instantly, drenched in cold sweat. But there is no dazzling light around, nor the vast darkness, only the furnishings she is all too familiar with. She slowly sat up and looked around, her consciousness was unprecedentedly clear. The air conditioner is turned on in the house, and the sound of air movement can be faintly heard. She personally picked the light-colored curtains on the window, and there were very fresh daisy patterns on them. This is her home. Her home alone. Before marrying Wen Yu, except for the Xiao family, she lived here most of the time, but after marrying Wen Yu, she never came back. What's the situation now? Xiao Sixen suddenly lost her head. She remembered that she died in a car accident, and that she seemed to be wandering in the void for a long time like a ghost, but now suddenly waking up from a familiar place made her suspicious. Is she dreaming? But this dream is too real, right? She was deeply confused. I wonder if I am dreaming? She used a dirty method, raised her hand and pinched her arm. Ouch, not a dream. A touch of joy appeared on her face. Such a pinch, she even found one thing, the burn marks on her hands were gone. When she was in a car accident, the burn marks were still on her forearm, but now it's gone. And she's still at home. A clue is gradually spliced into a possibility in Xiao Sixen's mind. Those beautiful eyes widened a little, filled with disbelief. So I wouldn't be reborn? Not only rebirth, but possibly rebirth before marriage? Thinking of this, she hurriedly found her mobile phone to check the year, but as soon as she opened her phone, she saw a message from her former manager. Xiao Sixen was holding the mobile phone with a stunned expression. The premiere of Red Lotus. Isn't that when she and Wen Yu were still dating, before they got married? Isn't it the time when her career first became popular? Not only reborn, but also reborn at such a good time, which is too good. It seems that God not only does not hate her, but also likes her very much. The more Xiao Xi thought about it, the happier she became, and she accepted the rebirth with great openness. No matter what she does, it's good for someone who has died once to be alive, and after rebirth, she will have more choices and more opportunities. This time, she will no longer foolishly feed the dog with her heart, nor will she give up her career for anyone. I was immersed in the joy of regaining my life when a new text message came to my mobile phone. Wen Yu, come out and have a drink with me. Wen Yu always called her out for a drink when she was in a bad mood. If it was before, Xiao Sixen would definitely go out to accompany her girlfriend, but not now. She's not stupid. Xiao Sixen, no, Miss Wen can drink by herself. Xiao Sixen, you can also celebrate. Wen Yu felt baffled when he received the second message. Wen Yu, what to celebrate? The message was sent, and it did not get a second reply as expected. 5 minutes later, Xiao Sixen replied with a slow and cheap message. Xiao Sixen, haha, of course, to celebrate your return to being single. Cute.jpg Wen Yu. The author has something to say. No, 4 tones, think about it. X1 I'm here again, I'm here again. First of all, I wish you a happy day, boo boo. Then make a promotion for the next door. She is the protagonist. Radio drama has been launched in the Rice Corner. Welcome to listen. This is followed by the edible guidelines for this article. Happy little sweetie, 1v1, he updated at 2100 hours every day. Ask for leave. Rebirth logic serves the plot. The 3 views of the characters are not the same as the author's 3 views. Reject the clean party. The proportion of CP emotional lines in this article is greater than that of scumbags. Feel free to go or stay. Don't inform me scarf at Gugu. Is it hot enough to faint today? I hope you all have a good time reading the article, and have a good mood every day. Ovo, quiet, it would be better if you leave more comments. This chapter was sent from the manuscript deposit box, and the manuscript deposit box is delayed, so the display may be a little later. When you clicked on Xiao Sixen's avatar and confirmed it again and again, it was Xiao Sixen. She returned to the chat interface, and a hint of confusion finally appeared in her calm expression. What do you mean? Is Xiao Sixen breaking up with her? She clearly likes her so much, why would she take the initiative to say such a thing? Xiao Sixen thought about it with her hair and knew that Wen Yu would be very puzzled. But what's wrong with her? Now she doesn't bother to care what Wen Yu is thinking. The heart that she once held for Wen Yu was already crushed in that car accident. Warm? Oh, dog woman, crawl for my mother. Xiao Sixen, literally Xiao Sixen, it's boring to be with you, I don't like you anymore, so you were dumped by me, understand? Xiao Xi naively imitated what she said in her previous life, and then blocked and deleted it in one go. Wen Yu looked at the red exclamation mark behind the dialogue box. She really does. After a while, the emotion in Wen Yu's eyes was replaced by indifference. She deletes their dialogue with a swipe. Forget it, Xiao Sixen is not an important person anyway, only Tianjia can affect her emotions. Besides, Xiao Sixen likes her so much, maybe she will find it again soon and bow her head to her and admit her mistake. What Xiao Sixen is doing now is just a boring trick. She didn't care and went out to relieve her boredom. Xiao Sixen put down her phone, thinking of Wen Yu's surprised expression. Her mood was unprecedentedly happy. Who is not a daughter, why should she let Wen Yu ruin her self-esteem? Thinking of this, she suddenly thought of her parents. Her parents treat her very well, and have been holding her baby in their palms to protect her. But she had a car accident in her last life, and let them send the white-haired man to the black-haired man. Xiao Xi closed her eyes, not daring to think deeply about her parents' heartbroken appearance. In this life, for herself and her parents, she must be good, live more carefully, and can no longer take out a heart and let others trample on it. After making the decision, she picked up the phone, turned over, and called her mother Lu Lan. It's nothing, I just want to hear my mother's voice. Heart. The familiar voice came from the handset, as if nothing had changed. She seems to have never left, and she has never had that sad past. She is still the beloved and carefree child of the Xiao family. Lu Lan asked kindly, what's the matter, do you miss your mother? Did something happen? The same gentle tone, the same care. Xiao Sixen suddenly remembered how Wen Yu was protecting Tianjia, and when she remembered the car accident, the grievances rushed like a burst, dyed red with a pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes. She turned her head and buried her face in the pillow, holding back her tears. It's okay, she said softly, I just missed you and my dad. It's great to be alive. It's great to see you all again. Lu Lan's tone was soft, we miss you too. Come back and stay for a few days. It just so happens that your dad doesn't seem to be in a good mood these days. He will be happy when you come back. Xiao Sixen instantly understood the reason for her father's bipolar mood. Actually, this node of her rebirth is not too good. Fortunately, she hasn't married Wen Yu yet, so she can stop her losses in time. Badly, at this time, the company had an accident, and many projects were forced to stop due to insufficient funds. It was too late for her to ask her father to beware of villains. The Wen and Xiao families in the previous life got married because of this. Businessmen value profits, and the two families are not familiar with each other. There is no need for the Wen family to invest for unrelated people, but if they become a family, their interests are closely related. The most important thing is that the commercial marriage was initiated by the Wen family. Xiao Sixen didn't know how her father Xiao Hung and the Wen family talked about this matter, and how they came up with a marriage. Even Xiao Heng did not expect that the Wen family would take the initiative to propose this condition. Of course, Xiao Heng did not intend to sell his daughter directly. The Wen family proposed a marriage, but he did not immediately agree. It was a matter of his daughter's life. He had to discuss it with her before giving an answer. The Wen family agreed. Xiao Sixen, who was in her previous life, naturally agreed very decisively. That is her sweetheart's home, isn't marriage just marrying her sweetheart? And she can save her family's company, so what else is she dissatisfied with? But now she won't jump into the fire pit of Wen Yu again. If her parents knew that Wen Yu treated her like this, they would definitely object to this marriage. As for what to do? Forget it, let's go step by step. She doesn't believe that the only way to save their Xiao family in this world is to marry Wen Yu. Xiao Heng obviously didn't want Liu Lan to worry, so he didn't let her know. Xiao Sixen understood what her father meant, so she kept it a secret from her mother for the time being, and answered briskly, "Okay, I will go home to accompany you when I finish the premiere the day after tomorrow." Red Lotus premiered at 1:30 p.m. on the day of the Fengcheng premiere. Xiao Sixen is at home, sitting in front of the mirror and being applied by a makeup artist. Xiao Sixen looked at herself like this, and she was a little surprised. She hasn't seen herself like this for a long time. Sit in front of the vanity mirror and prepare energetically for the career you love, instead of worrying about someone who doesn't love yourself. She likes herself like this, and there is a little more smile in her eyes are sparkling, and she looks very pleasing. Rong Ye, the agent behind her, just happened to look over and saw that she was smiling. Her mature face showed confusion. "What are you smiling about?" Xiao Sixen raised her eyebrows playfully. "Of course I'm thinking of something happy." "No more." She is now the happiest person in the world. Rongya asked gossip, "What is it that makes me happy too?" Xiao Sixen, secret. After she finished speaking, she put on makeup in a beautiful mood. Rongya raised her eyebrows. She felt that Xiao Sixen seemed to have changed, but she couldn't tell where she had changed, probably because her condition seemed to be better than before. But she didn't think too much about it, she just thought that Xiao Sixen had a good rest for the past 2 days, and at the same time she liked it. As an agent, who doesn't want their artist status to continue to be good? Xiao Sixen went into the changing room to change clothes. Putting on the prepared red women's suit, she stood in front of the full-length mirror and straightened her long hair. The glossy mirror showed a slender beauty. Casual and relaxed. At this moment, the mobile phone on the table suddenly rang. Xiao Sixen looked back. I saw the word Dad displayed in the note. Thinking of her previous life, she instantly understood the purpose of this call. Xiao Heng is going to tell her about the company and the marriage. When she answered the phone, her father's slightly tired voice came slowly, and Xiao Ci felt distressed. Xiao Heng hardly showed her vulnerable side in front of her. In her impression, her father always seemed to be omnipotent. Xiao Heng called her warmly, "Xin." Of course Xiao Sixen believed that if Xiao Heng was given some more time, he would definitely be able to find a new solution. But what is missing now is not the time. So she did not rush to deny it. "Dad, I'm going home tonight, let's discuss this matter when I get back, how about it?" "Is fine." Mom said that you haven't rested well for the past few days. You should take a good rest first, don't let her worry about your tired body." "Okay, Dad, got it." "Xin," Rong Ye's voice suddenly sounded from outside the door, "Are you okay? We should go." Xiao Ci said to her father on the phone, "Then I'll go to work first." "Don't worry about Dad, the company will definitely get through this difficult time safely, trust me." She lived twice. The first time she passed her home safely, and the second time must be the same. Xiao Heng couldn't help smiling when she heard her vow. "Well, Daddy believes you." On the way to the premiere, Xiao Sixen looked out the car window without saying a word. The well-known Shaw Brothers Group in the industry is facing difficulties, and the good media have long made rumors outside, but she is not worried that she will be questioned by the media. Because no one knew she was the daughter of the Shao family. Her secrecy has always been well done, except for the agents and assistants around her. No one knows who her parents are. The matter of concealing her identity as an actress was just a whim, and she wanted to see how far she could go without relying on family connections. And then it went all the way to today, and because of the movie Red Lotus, it became popular, and the price went up. Now, she has to think about whether she can help her father by herself. The Wen family proposed a commercial marriage, but she had already torn her face with Wen Yu, and it was impossible to return to the fire pit. So what to do? She stared out the window in annoyance. At this moment, she suddenly heard Rongya say, "Ah yes, I forgot to tell you, there is one more person at the premiere today, a VIP." Xiao Ci looked back. "Isn't the number of attendees confirmed? Why is there another one? Which VIP replied so late?" Rongya pulled out the list in her phone and handed it to her, motioning for her to read it for herself. Xiao Ci was confused and looked down at the screen. The list is very short, everyone's name is followed by their identity introduction, and each name is very loud. Looking down slowly, swept the familiar names all the way, and finally settled on the name at the end. Warm and cold. Xiao Ci was dumbfounded. "Isn't this Wen Yu her sister? Why is she here? I have never seen her attend in my last life." Rongya saw Xiao Ci in a daze, and explained thoughtfully, "I heard that I have time recently, so I agreed to the invitation." Xiao Cixin blinked, still a little confused. Rongya couldn't help but ask, "What, do you know each other? Is she your ex-girlfriend's sister?" Xiao Cixin dreamed back to high school for a long time. After a long time, she thought of the gentle girl who was standing at the school gate with a small book for violating discipline, and then she thought of the polite and peaceful relationship between the two in her previous life. She calmly returned the phone to Rongye, turned her head and continued to look out of the window, and gave a rigorous answer after a long pause, "Unfamiliar." The atmosphere of the premiere was hot. Red Lotus was a big hit, with Xiao Cixin as the starring role, and the number of fans has obviously increased. Looking at the enthusiastic fans at the scene, she couldn't help but bow her eyes and greet everyone with a graceful manner. Under the camera, she has clear eyes, radiant complexion, and a self-confident beauty that cannot be ignored. Xiao Cixin listened to the fans complimenting her good looks, and followed the staff to the theatre, full of anticipation for a long-awaited reunion. She has not participated in such an event for a long time, even the reenactment of the scene makes her feel new. Then she met the not very familiar person at the entrance. Wen's Haihan wore a white shirt, black high-waisted wide-leg trousers, and a pair of beautiful red OLED high-heeled shoes, making her look more slender and taller. The beauty that attracts the attention of others. Xiao Cixin couldn't help but take a second glance, and secretly sighed, the appearance of the mixed race is really superior. Wen's Haihan, Chinese-French half-blood, born and raised in China. When Xiao Cixin was in high school, she also witnessed the scene where she was stopped to confess because she was too beautiful on the road, or the grand occasion where love letters were stacked in a large pile on her desk. And now Wen's Haihan has a mature and stable temperament, which is more eye-catching and attractive than the youthful years. But no one would dare to fill her drawer with love letters anymore. Xiao Ci thought for no reason. At this moment, Wen's Haihan suddenly turned his head and caught her sight. Looking at each other, the sound around them suddenly softened. The blue eyes seemed to have demagogic magic, making people unable to take their eyes away. Xiao Cixin looked at her, and a sister suddenly came to her lips. She called Wen's Haihan like this after marrying Wen Yu. The next moment she quickly returned to her senses, swallowed these two words abruptly, and smiled at Wen's Haihan embarrassedly and politely. It was so sloppy, she almost forgot that she was reborn. Now they don't know each other at all, even if they used to go to the same high school and know who each other is. The next second, Wen's Haihan smiled back gently, still as gentle and kind as he remembered. Xiao Sixen was inexplicably relieved. Then they were seated next to each other. Xiao Sixen. She did not expect this arrangement. After the movie was played, Xiao Sixen looked absent-minded. The Wen family is sitting beside her now, she can't help but care. She wants to talk to her, but she doesn't know how to talk to her. In the movie, she wears a red dress and walks past the corpse indifferently, leaving behind a dignified and arrogant back. Outside the movie, she was wearing a red suit, racking her brains to make an opening speech, trying to get closer to her former senior, like a student who didn't do well in class. After thinking for a while, she decided to regain her cheeky demeanor, boldly, and have an opening first. Unexpectedly, as soon as she turned her head, she found that Wen's Haihan was approaching her, as if he had something to say to her. She paused, the words lingered on her lips and did not say anything. "Miss Xiao, very beautiful." With a gentle look and a lowered voice, she heard Wen's Haihan praising her. "Well done too." The light was dim, and flickering light fell on Wen's Haihan's face from time to time. There was a dazzling and moving light in those sapphire-like eyes, and Xiao Sixen was stunned for a moment as if she was bewitched. The distance between them seemed to be suddenly narrowed. "Thank you for the compliment," Xiao Ci came back to her senses, and then asked casually, "Miss Wen, single?" It was not loud enough for the two of them to hear. The question was asked very abruptly, with a faint hint of ambiguous conversation. Even Xiao Sixen felt that she was absurd. She just wanted to ask. Wen's Haihan smiled softly when he heard the words, "Well, I'm single." No reprimand, no distance, gentle as ever, just like the warm spring wind. Seeing this, Xiao Ci's heart changed, and suddenly she had an extremely bold idea. It's all a marriage, and they're the daughters of the Wen family, so why can't Wen's Haihan? A gentle and innocent-looking beauty like Wen's Haihan is not as sweet as that scumbag Wen Yu. I just don't know if Wen's Haihan is willing to accept her, whether she is willing to accept a marriage that only has interests and does not talk about love. Xiao Sixen found an entry point, and asked slowly, "Miss Wen, do you know that our two families may be married?" "No." Xiao Sixen did not see her boredom, and suddenly felt that she was one step closer to hope. Then she heard Wen's Haihan laugh softly, "That's what I proposed after all." Xiao Sixen. Who proposed it? The author has something to say, sister, think about it. X2 seeing everyone familiar in the comment area, super happy Ovo thanks to the little angel who threw the rocket launcher, the stone blue one, thanks to the little angel who threw the grenade, I want to drink one sea salt oolong milk cap, thanks to the little angel who threw mines, 2 ice ducks, Ziu, Xiao Pan Pan came to marry me, 1025, AMU, AMU, why am I still a scumbag, 15, Cage, Yan, Mu Jinky, 30,001, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 48 bottles of Cubs. 36 bottles of Returning to the Lost, 24 bottles, 20 bottles of Shu Yat, 14 bottles of Old Dugongs in the World, 11 bottles of Early Evening, I May Be a Lube, AMU AMU, Xingzai, 1.8 meters, Wutong, do 10 bottles, next time I will dare to 9 bottles, Dream Sunso, 156 bottles, Misty Rain Painting Bridge, Chuan Keshi 5 bottles, I'm so hungry, 3 bottles, Meow, no one knows 2 bottles, 3517, Play, 1 bottle of Time and Space Stardust. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. The movie is playing. Xiao Sixen and Wen's Haihan looked at each other. One is confused, one is calm. Xiao Sixen first looked away. She raised her hand and scratched her chin in confusion, then held it, and began to recall the events of her previous life. Thinking about it this way, she realized that she really never asked who proposed the marriage, she always thought it was the elders who proposed it. In addition to the fact that the object of marriage is someone she likes and can help her own company, she didn't pay much attention to the details, which led her to ignore the crucial point at that time. Wen's Haihan is in charge of the Wen family now, so the person who talks to her father is Wen's Haihan. It was Wen's Haihan who proposed marriage. Why does Wen's Haihan take the initiative to propose such a condition? Xiao Ci couldn't figure it out. She doesn't want to struggle for too long. What should she do all alone for so long? The answer is sitting next to it. Is it okay to ask directly? Xiao Ci opened her lips, and her name naturally changed a little. Mr. Wen. Hey. Wen's Haihan took his eyes off the screen and turned to look at her. The eyes met again, and Xiao Ci couldn't help but be stunned. In order not to disturb others, they all consciously lowered their volume, and even leaned their bodies to each other so that they could hear clearly. Unconsciously, the distance between the two has become close, so close that Xiao Cixin can smell the perfume on Wen's Haihan's body, light and gentle, just like hers. Xiao Cixin realized that something was wrong, moved her body slightly, and distanced herself. Considering that it was inconvenient to speak here, she boldly asked Wen's Haihan. Is Mr. Wen free? If you don't mind, let's have a cup of coffee after the event. Good. Wen's Haihan did not refuse. The event ended successfully. Xiao Cixin has to participate in an interview. Remembering the agreement with Wen's Haihan, she turned around to look for the other party. As if feeling something, Wen's Haihan, who was talking with the director, also turned around. Like attraction, in the crowd, they find each other at a glance, and face each other far away. Xiao Cixin raised her finger and pointed in her direction, indicating that she would stay a little longer. She forgot she had another 20-minute interview, and ended up making an appointment. She's sorry. Wen's Haihan didn't care, he curved his lips at her in a good-natured manner, nodded to show that he understood, and then lightly opened his red lips and gave her a mouth shape. Go. Xiao Cixin felt relieved when she saw what she said to herself. Wen's Haihan doesn't blame her. Xiao Ci went to the interview with peace of mind. Wen's Haihan looked away. The director suddenly asked curiously, with so many people, who are you talking to? Wen's Haihan smiled when he heard the words, his eyes lit up. Schoolgirl. When Xiao Cixin finished the interview and came out, she found a woman in professional attire standing outside. Wen's Haihan's assistant Guan Yan. When she saw her suddenly, Xiao Cixin was startled. Damn, why is Guan Yan here? Miss Xiao, Guan Yan asked politely, is the interview over? Xiao Cixin nodded. Guan Yan, can I have coffee then? Xiao Cixin. Guan Yan, we are still waiting for you, President Wen. Xiao Cixin. Wen's Haihan hasn't left yet? Xiao Ci was shocked, and quickly followed Guan Yan to the cafe. Under the guidance of the waiter, they walked all the way to the last box. As soon as the door was opened, Xiao Cixin could see Wen's Haihan sitting at the table, drinking coffee calmly. Slender fingers pass through the cup ears, the roots of the phalanx are distinct, and the skin is so white that it seems to be flooded. When she lowered her eyes, her long eyelashes cast a faint shadow under her eyes. She was as beautiful as a carefully drawn painting just sitting there. Guan Yan and the waiter left together without disturbing the two of them talking. Xiao Cixin sat down opposite Wen's Haihan. Wen's Haihan put down the coffee calmly. Xiao Cixin looked at the coffee, looked at her again, and couldn't help but said, I thought you were gone. She also plans to invite her next time. Wen's Haihan calmly said, it's only 20 minutes, not too long, and I happen to be free today. She crossed her hands and placed them on her lap, staring at Xiao Cixin softly. After a while, she said softly, like a long-lost friend, Miss Xiao, long time no see. Wen's Haihan was in the first term of Xiao Cixin. After she graduated from high school, they never saw each other again, as if it was just a brief encounter in their high school career. This meeting is not even a reunion, because they are not even friends. Xiao Xi agreed, long time no see, I didn't expect President Wen to remember me. She thought that Wen's Haihan would forget herself after graduation. Just like she forgets an unimportant person. Miss Xiao is not so easy to forget. Wen's Haihan said with a meaningful smile. Xiao Sixen was dragged back to high school by these words. When she was in high school, she really left a deep impression on Wen's Haihan. But the hero does not mention the courage of the past, there is no need to mention the past. So she decided to hurriedly stop before Wen's Haihan wanted to turn over the old accounts. Mr. Wen, give me some face to Xiao, don't mention the past, thank you. Wen's Haihan smiled lightly, not mentioning his student days. She asked, what do you want me to talk about for coffee? Xiao Sixen immediately got straight to the point, I'm curious, why did President Wen propose a commercial marriage? Wen's Haihan calmly said, I admire Xiao Dong's character, and sympathize with his experience, but no benefit is too early, and the Wen family has no obligation to help irrelevant people. Exactly, you and when you are together. Xiao Sixen was startled. Wen's Haihan looked straight into her eyes, I know, you like Wen Yu very much. Xiao Sixen calmed down after hearing what she said. The parents of both sides didn't know about her and Wen Yu's relationship, otherwise Xiao Heng would not be so confused when Wen's Haihan proposed marriage. But as for how Wen's Haihan knew, she had no interest in asking, nor did she think it was a big deal, but she didn't expect this to be an opportunity for Wen's Haihan to propose marriage. Xiao Sixen smiled, it turned out that President Wen wanted the beauty of an adult. Wen's Haihan did not deny it. She thought so at first. Xiao Xi changed her mind, unfortunately, I have broken up with Wen Yu. Wen's Haihan stretched out his hand to take the cup, but there was no expression on his face, why? Slightly Wen's Haihan felt very gentle, Xiao Sixen was calm in front of her, and she was lazy even to lie. So Xiao Sixen said very honestly, she has someone else in her heart and can't tolerate me, and it makes me feel tired and dignified about liking someone. In that case, what's the point of continuing? I've completely lost interest in her. The fingertips touched the coffee cup, Wen's Haihan lightly grasped the cup ears, and lowered his eyes. Xiao Sixen couldn't see the emotion in her eyes, only heard her say lightly, it's her fault. Seems to be comforting her. So I won't marry her. Xiao Sixen said. Wen's Haihan sipped his coffee and nodded slightly. But I need this marriage. Xiao Sixen looked at her with burning eyes. The Wen family did indeed help the Xiao family through difficulties in the last life and became the most trusted partner of the Xiao family. If she can get help from the Wen family again, why should she let Xiao Heng take another risk to find other help? Now the opportunity is in front of her, no matter what, she wants to fight for the Xiao family. Wen's Haihan raised his eyes, his blue eyes were like dazzling gems, crystal clear. She vaguely guessed what Xiao Sixen meant, but she still asked, what does Miss Xiao mean? Xiao Sixen leaned forward, put her hands on the table, her eyes were as bright as stars, everyone is an adult, so you don't need to be around the corner. Sister, she deliberately changed her name to a closer one, I want to marry you. Before saying this, she had already thought about the next lines in her heart, and how to express her sincerity. In the end, she didn't spit out a word, she heard Wen's Haihan calmly reply 2 words, yes. Xiao Sixen. Wen's Haihan smiled and said, I will marry you. Xiao Sixen. Wen's Haihan felt amused when she saw her dazed and shocked expression, and asked in a warm voice, I'm agreeing to your request, why are you so surprised? You agreed too quickly, Xiao Sixen couldn't believe it, to be honest, I think it was a bit hasty. Wen's Haihan. Xiao Sixen, it makes me feel cheating. Wen's Haihan. She was amused, there is no fraud. Shaking the coffee in her hand gently, she said calmly, you broke up with Wen Yu, and I have already proposed marriage to your father. You can't be a man without words, and in that case, only I can go on my own. And I believe that when Xiaodong recovers, he will be a good partner of the Wen family. This deal is not a loss for me. No loss? It all got itself in. Xiao Sixen expressed that she did not understand the thoughts of these business people. Are you really willing to marry me? Do you really feel that you are not at a loss? Wen's Haihan looked at her with a smile and said softly, Miss Xiao, I like beautiful people. Xiao Sixen understood. Thanks to her for having this face, so that Wen's Haihan can marry her. Since Wen's Haihan said so, she has to show some sincerity. Since this is a transaction, there is no emotion to speak of. I also know that transactions involving emotions will be very troublesome, so President Wen can rest assured that I will not like you to cause you trouble. A broken script like a love before marriage will never exist. I don't want to talk about love at all, really. Of course, you helped my Xiao family, and you are my benefactor. If you ask me, I will do my best. How about Mr. Wen, are you satisfied with my sincerity? After Xiao Sixen finished speaking, she gave a pleasing smile. Wen's Haihan listened silently, put down the coffee slowly after a long time, and said, It seems that you are deeply hurt by Wen Yu. Xiao Sixen did not deny it. I thought it was a two-way run, but it turned out to be wishful thinking. My wife cheated after marriage without any guilt. So she really can't give her heart to another person so soon, the wound needs time to heal, and it may even never get better. Wen's Haihan smiled lightly, not too much trouble on this issue, and instead asked, Then where is the scope of Miss Xiao's do your best? Xiao Ci replied neatly, I won't break the law, I won't hurt the gods, I won't let me give up my career. Wen's Haihan was clear. Her beautiful sapphire eyes curved into a crescent moon on the horizon, and her tone was as soft as the wind. Don't forget what I said today. Schoolgirl. The author has something to say. I am a little worried that everyone is eager to see the plot of the rebirth of the scumbag, so I will explain it here. The scumbag will be reborn, but not now. Don't worry, the CP emotional line in this article has a larger proportion. If you are really anxious to watch the rebirth of the scumbag, do you want to gain weight? Secretly raise, don't tell me QAQ. Thanks to the little angel who threw the rocket launcher, the stone blue one, thanks to the little angel who threw the mines, Momo love you Mamata 3, Pigeon Virtue, 24875359, Kage, Chongjin Lu, Chen Yuan, Mr. Gonfan, Kinosis, Mu Jinki, Murieo, XU1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 79 bottles of biscuits Qua, 43 bottles of Swimihan, 20 bottles of Shuyat, 13 bottles of no coriander, no green onions, Chongjin Lu, next time dare, Funian Bei, 351,710 bottles. Amur Fatai, Hung 8 bottles, 34967625, 5 bottles of Xingzai, 4 bottles of Wushang, 2 bottles of Zixixi, Miao, 1 bottle of Spacetime Stardust. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Xiao Sixen and Wen's Haihan decided to make up the marriage agreement next time. After solving a problem, Xiao Ci felt a lot of peace of mind. Seeing Wen's Haihan, she felt that the other party was more beautiful and amiable. Although she still can't guess Wen's Haihan's thoughts, but she doesn't care, as long as it can help their Xiao family, as long as it doesn't harm the Xiao family, Wen's Haihan can do whatever she wants. The most important thing is that this marriage is a loveless transaction. For her now, she can relax a lot by putting aside her feelings. She doesn't have to worry about how much her wife loves her like in her previous life, she doesn't have to work hard to maintain her marriage, and she doesn't have to send her true feelings like a fool. What's wrong with such a free and profitable marriage? Even if Wen's Haihan really wants to ask her something. Xiao Ci looked at Wen's Haihan secretly, and under the gentle, harmless, and pure expression of the other party, the last doubts were completely dissipated. Wen's Haihan will definitely not make excessive demands. Wen's Haihan is now in her heart a great bodhisattva who saves the suffering and is merciful. Aware of Xiao Sixan's gaze, Wen's Haihan turned his head and looked at it generously. What are you looking at? Xiao Ci was in a good mood and said a wit, I'm looking at my future wife. Wen's Haihan just smiled after hearing this, as if she didn't mind being called by her like that, and instead asked warmly, does it look good? Xiao Sixan said, it looks good. She didn't lie. If she were to be ranked by her appearance, Wen's Haihan would definitely be ahead of Wen Yu. Even in a previous life. After all, these two sisters were not born by a pair of parents, and their appearance is not a horizontal line. Wen Yu is actually Wen's Haihan's cousin. When she was a child, her parents died unexpectedly. Wen's Haihan's father couldn't bear to see his sister's daughter become a parentless child, so he adopted her and made her the second daughter of the Wen family. Unfortunately, the relationship between these two cousins is not good. Maybe it's a natural misalignment, or there may be other reasons. Xiao Ci's heart is not clear. Thinking about it this way, Xiao Sixan felt that maybe God wanted her to get rid of melancholy completely. Let her be reborn after being disheartened, and let her marry Wen's Haihan, who Wen Yu doesn't deal with. Everything shows that she and Wen Yu are no longer possible. From now on, Wen Yu is Wen Yu, she is her. Thinking back, Xiao Sixan looked at the beautiful person opposite. Everything that needs to be talked about, they just sit down like this, it seems to just continue the silence. Xiao Sixan said, Mr. Wen. Wen's Haihan, hey. Xiao Sixan, do you have anything else to deal with later? Wen's Haihan chuckled, no, I'm free today. Xiao Ci touched her earlobe, a little embarrassed. Yes, she just said that she is free today. I have something to go back first, Xiao Sixan said embarrassedly, my dad is still waiting for my answer. Wen's Haihan naturally knows what this answer refers to. She nodded and said, okay, then I won't disturb your time. Next time, let's finish all the things we need to do together. Since you are going to get married, the process that you should take naturally cannot be saved. Sign a marriage agreement, buy a ring, and go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. These are the things they should do next. Xiao Sixan nodded in agreement, took out her mobile phone and sent a message. Then Wen's Haihan watched her sit motionless. Not at all like a man going home. Wen's Haihan was puzzled, don't you want to go home? Xiao Sixan said calmly, wait for the car. Wen's Haihan? Where do you broker them? They are not responsible for your travel. Xiao Sixan explained calmly, after the interview, I asked them to go back first, because I have to go home for a few days, so I thought about asking the driver at home to pick me up and save my agent. They ran again. But I didn't expect you to be waiting for me, so I decided to let the driver come and pick me up after chatting with you. After she finished speaking, she smiled at Wen's Haihan, Mr. Wen can go first, don't worry about me. After listening to Wen's Haihan, he really got up slowly, but said warmly, don't let your driver come here. Xiao Sixan. Wen's Haihan, I'll take you back. Xiao Sixan, hey. After all, I am your future wife. Come on, fiancé. Wen's Haihan's tone was gentle, which made Xiao Sixan think for a moment that she really became her responsibility. Xiao Sixan. She has never seen the world, how can contract marriage still have such a thoughtful after-sales service? Wen's Haihan's assistant Guanyan is in charge of driving. Xiao Sixan and Wen's Haihan sat in the back seat and silently opened a distance. The weather is gradually getting cooler, and the autumn feeling in the wind quietly dyes the branches. No one spoke in the car, only the air was flowing away, and it was surprisingly quiet. Xiao Sixan turned her head and looked at the scenery outside the window, thoughtfully. She felt the atmosphere was a little awkward. The two of them have to get the certificate, but they are not familiar with each other, and they don't even have the contact information of each other. Yes, she doesn't have Wen's Haihan's contact information yet. Thinking like this, she retracted her thoughts, pulled out her phone, and turned to look at Wen's Haihan. In the end, I saw Wen's Haihan also holding the phone and looking at him. The eyes of the two paused on each other's face for a few seconds, and then fell on each other's mobile phone tacitly. It's all said and done. Xiao Ci raised her eyebrows and her eyes were very smart. She smiled, Mr. Wen, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. Wen's Haihan curled his lips, followed her words, and then turned the phone to the dial key interface and handed it to her. Xiao Sixen wrote down her phone number. Then they added WeChat. After adding the contact information, they each occupy one end, quietly adding notes to each other without disturbing each other. Xiao Sixen honestly changed Wen's Haihan's remarks to President Wen. A very boring and indifferent name for her. She is not familiar with Wen's Haihan, and her playfulness is not enough to make people's notes. Meta. A gentle voice came from the side with an intimate address. Xiao Ci was stunned for a moment before looking up. Is it me? Is she calling me? Why did she suddenly call me so close? Wen's Haihan felt amused when she looked at her doubting her ears, and asked, can't I call my fiancé like that? Xiao Sixen reacted. Yes, they are all people who need a marriage certificate, how can they be polite in their names? In addition, Wen's Haihan helped their family, then they are the best in the world. Wen's Haihan can do whatever she wants, she just follows her heart. So she showed a standard business smile and whispered to Wen's Haihan, yes, you can call, whatever you want. If President Wen is happy, you can call me Xinxi Xiao. Guanyan looked at the endoscope. Wen's Haihan in the mirror is looking sideways at the person on the other end, still with a gentle smile on his lips. After looking at it for a while, Wen's Haihan finally spoke. Meta. It's here. A bit of a dog. Speak nonsense, Xiao Ci corrected her seriously, I call it easygoing, mainly to make you feel my kindness. Wen's Haihan showed a sudden realization, so it was to make me feel kind. Xiao Ci nodded, her eyes bright, yes, do you feel it? Wen's Haihan smiled, I feel it, it made you worry. Xiao Sixen picked up her long hair, and said a bit stinky, you're welcome, it should be. No matter what, let's coax this beautiful bodhisattva first. Coax Wen's Haihan and save the Xiao family, so that she can start her career in peace. Wen's Haihan smiled softly, his expression as gentle as ever. It feels the same as when she was in high school. The conversation was a little playful, the relationship between the two seemed to be a little closer, and then there was nothing to say, and they turned their heads to look at the scenery outside the window. After a while, if it's convenient, Wen's Haihan said suddenly, can you send me your itinerary for this period? Xiao Ci asked, what do you do? Wen's Haihan's tone is still gentle and gentle, I should always know when you are free so that I can ask you to choose a ring and get a certificate. After all, the ring should be worn on your own hand. I suggest you choose the one you like with me, and don't leave it to others to decide. Xiao Sixen thinks this is reasonable. She is a bit stinky in her bones and likes all kinds of beautiful things. No matter how many times she wears the wedding ring, it is what she wears on her finger, and what she wears on Miss Xiao, how can it be unsightly? Whatever suits you will always look the best. Listen to you, Xiao Sixen said, wait a minute, I'll ask an agent for a schedule. She opened WeChat to find Rongye, and quickly typed a line of words. Xiao Sixen, Sister Rong, send me a copy of my next itinerary. Sister Rong, didn't you post it before? Xiao Sixen, forgot to save it, too many chat records, too lazy to look through. Xiao Sixen, I need it urgently, just send me another copy, please. Xiao Sixen, poor Baba.jpg. Sister Rong, okay, I know it, I will send it to you. Sister Rong, file. Sister Rong, I don't know what you need urgently, haven't you rested these days? Xiao Sixen turned her head and glanced at Wen's Haihan, then continued to look at the screen. Rongya knew that she was the daughter of the Shao family, that she also knew that her family had an accident, that she was her manager and belonged to her own, so she was reasonable, and everything she and Wen's Haihan were going to marry was all about her. You shouldn't hide it from her. Anyway, you need to know. Shao Sixen, not for me Shao Sixen, it's for my fiancé Rongye, who received the news, was shocked into an emoji. Fiancé? Where is this girl's fiancé? Didn't you just break up? She typed 2 words hesitantly and confusedly, who? Shao Ci threw out 3 words neatly. Warm chill Sister Rong colon? Sister Rong, didn't you say that you are not familiar with each other in the afternoon? Shao Sixen, that's all in the past. Shao Sixen turned her head and glanced at the beautiful bodhisattva beside her, then lowered her head to type. Shao Sixen, now we are the best in the world. Rongye. What I said in the afternoon is actually called the past. It's hard to change your mouth so quickly. Shao Sixen was about to put down her phone when she saw Rongye send a question. A simple but worrying question: are you kidnapped? Shao Sixen. You can stay away from the criminal law when your brain holes diverge. The author has something to say, the author has nothing to say, and secretly launches a wave of love towards you. Baidu a little naive, take it. Look at the text. Look at the text. Thanks to the little angel who threw the shallow bomb, Ahua won. Thanks to the little angel who threw the rocket launcher, Hanchinj alone won. Thanks to the little angel who threw mines, 3 girl hearts, Kenosis, 1025, Layla, Strawberry Milk, as usual, Yu Wuhan, Utsuraki, Pigeon Virtue, Mr. Chen, Momo Love You Mamata 1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 30 bottles of strawberry milk, bottles, 8 bottles of Miss Jiaren's dog, 5 bottles of Sudden 7 years. Maiden Heart, Geu's Lying Little Star, Hanchinj Di, Lin Musen, Sanjiafen Jinhua, and Ran Ban, Xian Jia will give you 3 bottles of fat intestines, Time Stardust, Star Cubs, 5,411 bottles. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. The kidnapper Wen's Haihan was looking at Shao Sixen's itinerary. And Shao Sixen is cleaning up for her who knows nothing. Sister Rong, married? Sister Rong, really? Shao Sixen, true Shao Sixen, I Shao will soon be married. Shao Sixen, please look forward to .jpg Sister Rong colon. She also doesn't understand what to expect from such a thing. But she felt that Shao Sixen was a little miserable. Commercial marriage, the emphasis is on the word commercial, and the word suffixed at the end is just a transaction based on the sacrifice of the happiness of 2 people. But she can't 100% say that people who marry in business are not happy, at least Shao Sixen is not happy. As Shao Sixen's agent, she is naturally aware of Shao Sixen's love affair and who her heart was once directed towards. Wen's Haihan, a name that Shao Sixen never mentioned before, how could there be feelings between them? Alas! She silently pitied Shao Sixen in her heart. It is not easy to be a child of a rich family. Sister Rong, thank you very much. Shao Sixen doesn't feel miserable. What's so bad about people who have died once can be reborn? What's so bad about marrying someone so gentle? Can she live a miserable life? Cannot. Easy but a worry, she is happy now, no one can be happier than her. Wen's Haihan saw Shao Sixen's itinerary and knew it. Putting away her phone, she said slowly, since you are going to rest at home these days, I won't bother you. Let's meet again next week. Shao Ci looked at her. Wen's Haihan smiled, you can cherish the last single time. Shao Sixen turned her head to look ahead, and said soberly, I don't mind, anyway, we are just 2 married singles who are not in love and don't care about each other. Wen's Haihan stared at her sideways for a moment, then looked away and looked ahead, that's right. The car was driving on the way back to Shao's house. The air fell into a strange silence again. Shao Sixen looked at the world outside the window. If she could be as ruthless and powerful as a city in her previous life, she would not end up like that. I may not be a good fit for a relationship. She thought so. At this moment, a gentle voice came from the side. You still have a chance to regret. They haven't got the certificate yet, the marriage hasn't settled yet, it's not too late. Xiao Xi turned her head back, and Wen's Haihan's superior appearance and her calm and serious look were reflected in her peach blossom eyes. She was in no hurry to marry her. She didn't want her to regret either. Is a marriage triggered by family changes really sensible enough? Xiao Sixen looked at the person in front of her quietly. To be honest, she, who has just been hurt by someone in a marriage, really rejects marriage and love in her heart. How can someone who has been scalded by fire touch the flame again? But she can't. But the temperature is different. When you never said these words, she didn't care what she would become, she only cared about Tianjia. But the temperature will be cold. Even if they are only contractually married and have no feelings, Wen's Haihan will still give her a chance to regret and ask her for her opinion tenderly. Xiao Xi said, I don't regret marrying you. Warm and cold are different. She is gentle and kind. Wen's Haihan was clear and did not bring up this topic again. Just as the atmosphere was about to sink again, Xiao Sixen suddenly turned to look at her, then will you regret it? Xiao Sixen didn't understand what Wen's Haihan had in his promise to marry. She couldn't think of any reason why Wen's Haihan could not have this marriage. So she was suddenly a little worried that Wen's Haihan would go back and give up helping the Xiao family. She didn't want the bamboo basket to be empty. Wen's Haihan's gem-like pupils reflected the appearance of Xiao Sixen. The two looked at each other silently. Xiao Xi said, have you never regretted it? What kind of is that? The corners of Wen's Haihan's lips slowly rose, and his tone was gentle, I regret it. Everyone will regret it. Xiao Xi couldn't help turning to face her, and asked with burning eyes, including our marriage? Wen's Haihan calmly said, not included. Xiao Sixen blinked. Wen's Haihan said softly, I will do what I promise, just trust me. Xiao Sixen's eyes suddenly revealed a bit of hesitation and confusion. Looking at Wen's Haihan's gentle appearance, she finally said nothing and sat back in place quietly. Hopefully. Jingming Holiday Club. Wen Yu sat alone in the private room drinking. She had a conflict with Tianjia again today. Tianjia was very angry about her and Xiao Sixen being together, and they still couldn't get back together. She still couldn't put down Tianjia. The goblet is shaken gently. Crimson wine rippling in the glass. The gentle eyes gradually blurred. She likes Tianjia. She wanted to catch her, keep her by her side, and make her love only her. Her love can't be shared with others, no. She understands that Tianjia also likes herself. They are in love with each other, but there is still a lot of friction. Just like every couple, they will fall in love and have conflicts, and then they will succeed little by little. It's just, a little tired. Put down the wine glass, Wen Yu raised his hand and rubbed his head. So every time at this time, she would find Xiao Sixen to come out to accompany her. Xiao Sixen and Tianjia are the same, but not the same. They are all well-behaved and compassionate types, they all like her, but Xiao Sixen's love for her is more fiery, more considerate and more relaxed. However, Xiao Sixen broke up with her a few days ago. Thinking of this, Wen Yu's eyes instantly turned cold. Just mention it, she doesn't like her anyway. At this moment, the door of the private room was opened, and a beautiful woman with shoulder-length hair walked in from outside. Wen Yu glanced at the door, did not move, obviously knew the other party. Bai Rui put down the bag and took a seat. You called me to drink as soon as I came back, why, are you in a bad mood? Where's your big star? Wen Yu heard the words, and corrected indifferently, it's not my family. Bai Rui. Wen Yu, we are separated. Bai Rui said calmly, you should share. She shares. Wen Yu frowned slightly, as if she didn't want to admit it. Brayden was surprised and said, it's strange, doesn't Xiao Sixen like you very much? He also broke up with you. She poured herself a glass of wine and jokingly said, you must have done something to hurt people's hearts. Wen Yu did not speak, and his expression was not very good looking. Seeing this, Bai Rui took a sip of wine and said seriously, you may not like to hear what I say, but I really think Xiao Sixen is better than Tian Jiehe. It will block you like Tian Jiehe. When people still like you, treat them well, and she doesn't owe you anything. But she's breaking up now, so I guess she really doesn't like you anymore. Damn, that's it. Wen Yu took the wine glass and glanced at her. Bai Rui raised her glass and grinned. Don't like it? She doesn't believe it. Just wait and see. Xiao Sixen will definitely regret it, and then come back and beg me to get back together. Wen's Haihan sent Xiao Sixen home, and then met Xiao Hung again. Dong Xiao. Mr. Wen. Say hello. Just one calm, one a little surprised. The eyes of the gentle-faced middle-aged man hidden behind the lenses were full of confusion. Xiao Hung didn't understand, how could Wen's Haihan come back with his daughter? Lu Lan heard that her daughter was back and was coming downstairs. She was stunned when she saw a strange woman beside her daughter. She has learned from Xiao Hung about the changes in the company today and the proposal of marriage from the Wen family, but she has never seen Wen's Haihan. This is... Wen's Haihan followed the sound. Lu Lan was born very beautifully, even in her old age. She is also a peerless beauty, like the moon in the sky, which cannot be ignored. Xiao Hung has walked over to hold his wife's arm. Lu Lan is not well, and he has always taken care of her. Wen's Haihan glanced at Xiao Sixen beside him. She really looks more like her mother. Aware of the gaze beside her, Xiao Sixen looked over in confusion. Wen's Haihan smiled, you are as beautiful as your mother. This works great for Xiao Sixen. Xiao Sixen likes to hear others compliment herself, and also likes to hear others compliment Lu Lan. Thank you, you look as good as your mother too. Have you seen her? Wen's Haihan asked. I haven't seen it before, Xiao Si said calmly, it's a courtesy to communicate, and it's good to praise first. Wen's Haihan was stunned for a moment, but also did not expect this to come and go. She laughed and said, I'll take you to see them when they return from their trip. Xiao Si thought that she was going to meet, so she nodded. The two are in perfect harmony. Lu Lan looked at them, then at her husband, her eyes were puzzled. Xiao Hung whispered softly, this is what I told you before, the eldest daughter of the Wen family, the current principal of the Wen family. Lu Lan suddenly realized, and there was a hint of apology in her eyes when she turned to her daughter. If possible, who would want their children to face such a choice? Who doesn't want a child to live happily ever after with the person they love? Xiao Sixen was almost sure that Lu Lan knew everything at this moment. She didn't want her parents to feel so guilty. This is her choice, and she doesn't feel that anyone owes her. She still wants her parents to accept it happily. Lu Lan ordered her aunt to make hot tea to entertain the guests, then turned to Wen's Haihan and smiled kindly, Mr. Wen, please take a seat. Wen's Haihan, okay. Then her arm was pulled by Xiao Sixen. I saw Xiao Sixen raise her hand and solemnly say to her parents, wait a minute. Xiao Hung. Lu Lan. Wen's Haihan. Xiao Sixen took Wen's Haihan with a puzzled face and spoke outside. Wen's Haihan, what's wrong? Xiao Sixen, there is something, I don't know if you will mind. Wen's Haihan, what? Xiao Sixen looked at her charming eyes and asked cheekily, can I tell my parents, I like you? Wen's Haihan. She is really confused now. Xiao Sixen looked at her gentle appearance and felt like a devil who poisoned the pure. But things have come this far, and there is no reason to give up. She said sincerely, I don't want my parents to feel that I was forced to agree to the marriage, and I don't want them to feel guilty about me. Wen's Haihan swiped her eyelashes and listened to her quietly. Xiao Sixen looked at her, and she began to understand it with emotion. We have no emotional foundation, but we want to get married. Although it is a marriage that I chose, my parents will definitely think about it. I feel guilty. So I just wanted to play it in front of them and let them know we're voluntary and don't have to feel sorry for us. Can you get it? A marriage based on love is worth looking forward to. A marriage without feelings will only make people worry about life after marriage. Understood. Wen's Haihan smiled softly. But you shouldn't just say you like me. Xiao Sixen. Wen's Haihan looked at her with clear and charming eyes. You should tell them that I like you too, we are in love. Xiao Sixen. Xiao Ci grabbed both of her hands gratefully. When you buy food, you must reduce the price, bring an umbrella when it rains, instant noodles must have seasoning packets, and fun stocks must be all red. Thank you, Bodhisattva. Wen's Haihan. No need to be so fancy. Inside the house, Yulan heard the movement, turned her head and asked her husband, did Xingxin say something just now, Bodhisattva? Does she want to see the Bodhisattva? Xiao Hung thought for a while, and guessed seriously, she may want to travel to the South China Sea to see Guanyin Bodhisattva. Yulan nodded and murmured, so. The author has something to say, Mother Xiao, I will take my daughter there next time. Scumbag progress, she will definitely come back to me. Heart-to-heart progress, compatible with the Bodhisattva. If you want to comment, if you don't give it to me, I will use the love light wave Biubia by you. Ferocious.jpg. To tell the truth, the South China Sea sunburned to death. Thanks to the little angel who threw the grenade, one patient who came on a whim, thanks to the little angel who threw the mine, Mu Jinki, Laylat, Kinosis, Magnetic Force, Momo love you, one patient who came on a whim, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 111 bottles of magnetism, 20 bottles of I live in the end of the Yangtze River, lemon, Yoko, 15 bottles of Jiao Er, 13 bottles of winter solstice, patients who came on a whim, Artemis 10 bottles of Si, devil, and nostalgic childhood, 5 bottles of Ziu, Yanyahuakiao and Mariao, 4,763,15033 bottles, 2 bottles of Mu Jinki. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Wen's Haihan felt that Xiao Sixen's words were reasonable. Although she is in charge of the Wen family now, as a child, she must also give her parents an explanation on the matter of marriage. Like is the best explanation. So the marriage contract between the two tacitly added one more item, acting in front of their parents. With the permission of the Bodhisattva, Xiao Sixen gave full play to the professionalism of the actor. She took the initiative to attack, holding Wen's Haihan affectionately into the living room, pulling her to sit down on the sofa, close to each other, for fear that others would not see that they were a couple. Wen's Haihan will do what she says, and is very cooperative and indulgent. Xiao Hung and Yulan were stunned when they saw how tired they were. What is this? Xiao Sixen is like a sloth now, she can't let go of the hand that hugs Wen's Haihan. She stuck to Wen's Haihan, turned her head to her parents and said, yes, parents, that's what you saw. Haihan and I are actually in love and we are a couple. It was the first time that Wen's Haihan heard her talk like this, the first time she was called so affectionately. Not very used to. Xiao Sixen's script didn't stop there, she even thought about the beginning and development of love, and waited for Xiao Hung and Yulan to ask. Xiao Hung and Yulan obviously haven't recovered from the fact that they are a couple, and when they reacted, they asked uncertainly, you guys are really together already? Xiao Sixen, yes. Xiao Hung, why didn't you tell me when you called? Xiao Sixen hugged Wen's Haihan's arm tightly and smiled shyly, I want to give you a surprise. Xiao Hung. It was a surprise, a surprise. Wen's Haihan also said at the right time, sorry Xiao Dong, I went to the premiere of Sixen today, and I just sent her back after the end, so I didn't have time to prepare the meeting ceremony. Aren't Xiao Heng and Lu Lan the kind of people who will covet the cheapness of their younger generation? Not to mention, isn't the fact that the two children together is not enough to greet each other? Is this more surprising than an ordinary greeting? It's okay, my parents won't blame you, you are enough. After Xiao Sixen finished speaking, she leaned on Wen's Haihan's shoulder with a sweet smile. Even if they were sitting on the other side of the car just now, she will do everything in her power to fake the illusion that they are a couple. Wen's Haihan. She still smiled amiably. She didn't know if Xiao Sixen and Wen Yu were so sweet when they were in love, but, if they could deceive their parents, that's fine. I hope Xiao Dong and Mrs. Xiao can agree to our stay. Wen's Haihan said politely and gently. Xiao Heng and Lu Lan were stunned by the two of them. The Xiao family is at a critical juncture, and the Wen family's willingness to help them is a great blessing. They have no position to reject it. But now Xiao Sixen and Wen's Haihan have obviously simplified things, as if it has nothing to do with the marriage between the two families, they just want to be with each other. If you just look at the love of children as parents, the couple can't judge whether it is true or not at this time. It was all too sudden. Seeing this, Xiao Xi hurriedly added, "Parents, you agree, I really likes Haihan, I want to be with her, and I want to marry her." The couple fell into deep thought. I don't know if she was frightened by her excessive acting skills or what. Wen's Haihan had a smile on his face, turned his head to Xiao Sixen's ear, and bit her ear in a low voice, "Is it a bit exaggerated? Why is this acting different from what she saw in the movie? This will not make Xiao Dong and the others suspicious?" Xiao Sixen looked at her parents, hit her lightly, and said with a smile, "I hate it," then changed her tone for a second, and said seriously in her ear, "Hold on, my current persona is your sweet, cute, and weak fiancé." She felt that acting a little sticky would make her parents feel that she liked Wen's Haihan. It was really hard work. Wen's Haihan. When did she make such a long character? Is it a bit redundant? You don't like it? Xiao Sixen asked in a very soft voice. Bodhisattva doesn't like it, so does she have to change her character next time? Wen's Haihan couldn't help laughing when she heard the words. Her voice suddenly became normal, and followed her words, "No, I like it very much." Xiao Sixen was relieved, and smiled at her. The two of them sweetly bit their ears, and the couple had a panoramic view. This scene completely dispelled their last doubts. At first they were hesitant, but based on their relationship and actual situation, they believed. Because Wen's Haihan doesn't need to help Xiao Sixen to deceive them, the Xiao family is the passive one. It's good that you both truly love each other. Xiao Heng relaxed his shoulders slightly, "We don't want you to have an unhappy marriage either." The voice fell, and Xiao Sixen and Wen's Haihan were silent for a few seconds. Xiao Sixen was the first to break the short silence and smiled, "Don't worry Dad, we will be happy." She looked at Wen's Haihan, but saw that the other party smiled gently at her. Wen's Haihan took her hand, facing the Shaw brothers and his wife, solemnly as if swearing, "You two, please rest assured, I will definitely cherish kindness and cherish this marriage." Xiao Sixen looked at her and suddenly had some illusions. They don't seem to be acting, but they are really in love. Wen's Haihan is not lying, but really treats her well and treats her like a treasure. They seem to have a wonderful marriage. "Okay," Xiao Heng's eyes moved, "we believe in you." Hearing her father's voice, Xiao Xi's heart fell back to reality. She looked at Wen's Haihan with awe. "Cow wow wow, this is too good to act, the Oscar statuette in the business world must be given to Wen's Haihan." After playing the little couple, Xiao Heng and Wen's Haihan went to the study to talk about the company. "Agree everything, Wen's Haihan intends to leave." Lu Lan kept her down for dinner, but she politely declined, "I'm sorry, there are still some things at home that I can't stay for dinner, next time I'll accompany you two to dinner, okay?" A modest and polite child is always the most favorite among parents. In addition, Wen's Haihan and Xiao Sixen are now a love-for-like couple. Lu Lan's eyes looking at Wen's Haihan are more loving. Okay, it's fine, as long as it's convenient for you. Lu Lan said with a smile. Wen's Haihan turned and left. Seeing this, Xiao Ci left a message to her parents, "I'll take her off," and hurriedly followed. The two walked side by side to the car parked not far away. Wen's Haihan asked, "What's wrong?" Xiao Sixen said, "You act so well, I want to praise you." Wen's Haihan asked, "How good is it?" Xiao Ci thought back to the past and said, "It's so good that I doubt that we are real." Wen's Haihan responded with a smile and said nothing. Sunset, the night sky rises, and the autumn night comes quickly. The wind was blowing in the air with a hint of coolness. Xiao Sixen did not feel cold, but was very happy. She stretched and smiled, "It's so good." "What? That's all we are, we help each other when we need it, don't involve feelings, and it's easy to get along. It's really cool to be single." "Really?" "Yes." Xiao Ci walked backwards with her arms behind her back. "Seriously, if you forced me to devote myself to this marriage at first, I would definitely not agree to get married, and I would stay far away from you. Whether it's marriage or love, it's too tired for me now, and my heart wants to rest." As she spoke, recalling the past, she couldn't help sighing softly, and tiredness swept over her. Wen's Haihan noticed that her mood was not right, and asked a gentle and focused question, "Have you ever been married?" Xiao Sixen reacted and said quickly, "How is that possible?" Wen's Haihan asked sincerely, "How do you say it as if you had married?" The look of reminiscing the past looks like a story. Xiao Ci was impatient and made friends out of nothing. "My married friend complained to me about too many marriages, and I felt the same way. I was a little afraid of marriage. I haven't eaten pork, and I haven't seen a pig run." Wen's Haihan stopped in front of the car door. Xiao Sixen also stopped. Wen's Haihan turned to look at her, her aqua-blue eyes were as clear and charming as ever. Xiao Sixen saw Wen's Haihan slowly raise her hand, then gently placed it on her head, and touched it gently. "I see." Wen's Haihan said. Xiao Ci was puzzled and subconsciously stepped back to avoid her movements. "If you know it, you know it. Why do you suddenly touch her head? Your parents haven't entered yet." Wen's Haihan warmly reminded. Xiao Sixen hurriedly braked and took a step closer to her, "Then you touch for a while, and you must express your reluctance to me when parting." Wen's Haihan laughed, but he did. "See you next time, I'm pretty and cute, what's behind?" "Beautiful, cute and weak Brittany fiancé." Xiao Sixen repeated it solemnly under her hand, and nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, I also know the character she created by Q, although I don't remember it, but it's not bad." Wen's Haihan smiled and patted her head. "Let's get a shorter one next time." On the way back, Wen's Haihan stared at the night scene outside the window without saying a word. The temperature that belongs to Xiao Sixen still seems to remain in the palm of her hand. She's still the same, Pi. Sitting silently for a while, she took out her mobile phone and called her father Wen Xingyun. "Dad. I'm getting married." When you got home, he happened to receive a call from Wen Xingyun. Wen Xingyun said on the phone that they would end their journey and go home next week, and asked her to go back to Wen's house to stay with them for a few days. Since Wen's Haihan took over the investment of Guanglan, Wen Xingyun started traveling with his wife easily. "When the trip comes back, let the children go back to Wen's house to get together with them." So every time they came back, Wen's Haihan and Wen Yu would go home and live with them. Wen Yu thought they would have to play for 2 more months before returning to Fengcheng this time, "But I didn't expect to come back so soon, aren't you and Mom going to play a little longer and come back?" she asked softly. Don't play," Wen Xingyun's voice seemed very happy, "if there is a happy event, you have to go back quickly." Wen Yu and curious, what happy event? Wen Xingyun laughed a few times. It seems that your sister hasn't told you yet. Wen Yu, what? Wen Xingyun, she's getting married. Wen Yu frowned slightly, not caring. She doesn't care about Wen's Haihan's marriage. But the face project still needs to be done, so I asked casually, oh? She's getting married? Who is she going to marry? Wen Xingyun's voice came from the receiver, with the answer she didn't expect, and the daughter of the Shao family, Shao Sixen. Wen Yu paused at the entrance. Who to marry? The author has something to say. Heart, Isma, sweetie. Sister, write down the character of my wife in a small notebook JPG. I have to explain. The saucy talker mentioned in the copy refers to people who talk a lot about the bells and whistles, not the people who talk a lot about where and when. In short, another sand sculpture heroine, of course. The latter may also have, right? Thanks to the little angel who threw the grenade, one little spicy, thanks to the little angels who threw mines, Zyok, Layla, Murieo, Utsuraki, Pigeon Virtue, Momo love you Mamada, little crying cat cried one, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 72 bottles of cherry blossoms, 29 bottles of citrus will be saccharified, wine bags and rice bags, 222-855-0320 bottles, I may be a lube 10 bottles, Emmer Fatai 9 bottles, Xiao Lai, homework has not been written, Cafe. Kak, Heju 5 bottles, Jing 4 bottles, Time Stardust, Meow, 5411 bottles, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Wen Yu couldn't believe her ears. Wen's Haihan wants to marry Shao Sixen? Why? To fight her? But Wen's Haihan didn't know that Shao Sixen was her ex-girlfriend. What's that for? She didn't understand and was deeply confused by Wen's Haihan's behavior. She didn't want to take care of it, but she couldn't care less. After all, it's her ex-girlfriend. Anyone who encounters an ex-girlfriend and wants to marry his sister will definitely not care. She thought so. Xiao Yu. Wen Xingyun's deep voice came from the phone, pulling her thoughts back to reality. Are you listening to Dad? Yes, Wen Yu put down the bag she had been carrying, I'm listening. Wen Xingyun said, it's nothing, I just called to tell you that we are coming back, don't forget to go home and live. Wen Yu lowered her head and changed her shoes, I know, I will definitely go back, Dad, don't worry. Wen Xingyun, okay, it's alright, go do what you want to do, hang up, rest early. Wen Yu, okay, good night Dad. Wen Xingyun, good night. Hang up the phone, Wen Yu put on his pajamas and went to take a shower. Soaking in the steamy bathtub, she closed her eyes and thought. But the person occupying her mind at this moment was not Tian Jiehe, but Shao Sixen. The woman who loved her deeply but took the initiative to break up with her, is now going to marry Wen's Haihan. Is this normal? This is not normal. She even suspected it was a joke. But if it is really a joke, then the cost of this joke is too high, it actually requires so many people from their Wen family. But the more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable there was in her heart, as if something in her hand had been stolen. Whether that thing is important or not, the moment it is stolen will leave an annoying pimple in people's heart. She gradually became concerned about this matter, and things that failed to coax Tian Jiehe and failed to get back together were slowly forgotten. Is Shao Sixen revenge for her indifference? Wen's Haihan used by Shao Sixen? Thinking of this, she slowly opened her eyes, and there was a sneer in her eyes. Wen's Haihan, wouldn't it really be my ex-girlfriend's tool? She picked up her phone, unlocked the screen, clicked on Wen's Haihan's WeChat, and sent a message full of mockery. Wen Yu, are you getting married? Wen Yu, with the daughter of the Shao family? Wen's Haihan, Wen Yu raised his eyebrows, looking at her across the screen like a fool. Wen Yu, don't blame me for not reminding you, that's my ex-girlfriend Wen's Haihan, so? When you, so not sure, she just wants to use you to get revenge on me. When you have been deceived, Wen's Hai Han, you have become stupid. Wen's Hai Han did not reply immediately. Perhaps in contemplation, or perhaps in hindsight, feeling out of breath. All in all, I am happy with the gentleness she has been dealing with. After a while, Wen's Hai Han replied. When you arrogantly turned on the phone, and saw Wen's Hai Han reply, I showed her a screenshot. When I colon. Why did you take a screenshot? Wen's Hai Han, Sixen gave me an expression, do you want to see it? Then Wen's Hai Han didn't care whether she saw it or not, and slowly turned Xiao Sixen's emoji over. Warm chill, u.jpg when you. She turned off her phone in a huff. What filth! Xiao Ci marveled at the screenshot while lying on the bed. What is revenge and what is being cheated? When you takes herself too seriously. It's no wonder that in my last life, I was able to make ghostly remarks of scum, you are helping you realize your dream. She is really blind to fall in love with such a contradictory thing. Xiao Sixen called Wen's Hai Han. She has to make it clear to Wen's Hai Han that she can't let Wen's Hai Han really believe Wen Yu's nonsense, and then she won't help the Xiao family. The call is connected. The voice from the other end was still gentle and gentle, not too slow, as if it was not affected at all. Hello. The impassioned Xiao Sixen suddenly calmed down when she heard this voice. Wen's Hai Han is so gentle, even her voice can make people calm. Mercy, Wen's Hai Han asked, is there something wrong? Xiao Sixen lay on her back, I wanted to tell you not to believe her nonsense, don't be fooled by her, but now it seems, you don't seem to believe her words? Wen's Hai Han said, don't worry, I have my own judgment. The implication is self-evident. Xiao Sixen felt relieved when she understood it. No matter what, the Bodhisattva will not be misunderstood by the gentle words, and will not give up helping the Xiao family. However, Xiao Sixen recalled the screenshot, feeling amazing, I didn't expect you to send me the screenshot directly. Wen's Hai Han said calmly and gently, I'm just teaching her not to speak ill of others behind her back. If you have something, you can say it face to face. Xiao Sixen. She couldn't help but clapped. A good one. You can say bad things to your face, it's really a well-intentioned and original education. That's right, Xiao Sixen suddenly remembered something, my parents asked us what we're going to do for the wedding. Do you want to have a wedding? Wen's Hai Han threw this question to her, do you want to? Xiao Sixen was lost in thought. She doesn't want to. It is very troublesome to hold a wedding. There are too many things to do. If you don't marry the person you like, there will be no passion and love to support. But she has no initiative, she still wants to listen to Wen's Hai Han. What the Buddha says is what he says. Wen's Hai Han on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment. Postpone, she said. It's better to postpone it all the time. A wedding is not a must, a marriage certificate is. After Xiao Sixen heard it, she suddenly wanted to sigh. Wow! My God, what kind of compassionate bodhisattva is this? How could she be blind in her last life to see her sister, but didn't she see her? Okay. Xiao Sixen's voice was particularly brisk, just do as our President Wen said. As soon as Wen's Hai Han heard this voice, she knew it was in her heart, which made her happy. Wen's Hai Han smiled helplessly, you just listen to me like that. Of course, Xiao Ci responded happily, you will do what you say, and I will do what I say. This is neat and tidy. Wen's Hai Han heard her brisk tone, and the corners of her lips rose unconsciously. She really doesn't want to fall in love. Rest early, Wen's Hai Han said softly, good night. Good night, good night. Hang up the phone, Xiao Ci stretched her limbs comfortably. These few days, she will have a good rest at home, accompany her parents, and breathe a new air of life. Xiao Hung is busy with the company. He hasn't been home for a few days. He is almost living in the company. Fortunately, now that the Wen family is helping him outside, and his daughter is accompanying his wife at home, he can breathe a sigh of relief. Since the two daughters are in love with each other, the marriage has naturally become. Wen Haihan quickly fulfilled his promise, and even when Xingyun contacted him, saying that he has always been concerned about the Xia group, admired his character, and was very happy to be his in-laws. Everything is looking good. Xiao Heng was busy for a few days and finally had time to go home to rest. Then it was Xiao Sixen's turn to leave home to work. At 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, she had a magazine cover to shoot, and nothing happened until then. Idle is also idle, she simply called Xiao Liang Shuifei to come out for coffee. After so many days of rebirth, she hasn't met Liang Shuifei yet, and she misses her a bit. Liang Shuifei did not go to work this weekend, so she happily went to the appointment. Xiao Sixen sat in the seat and watched Liang Shuifei come towards her. Twisted braids, baby fat, cute and fresh dress, Liang Shuifei is still the cute look she remembers. She slowly rolled her eyes, in a good mood. Liang Shuifei found her laughing as soon as she sat down. Although she didn't understand what she was laughing, she also curled her lips, put down her bag, and took out her mobile phone to place an order. What are you laughing at? Is it good to leave the scumbag? Of course, Xiao Sixen said with a smile, who's in a bad mood to leave the scum? Just order what you want, my sister will treat you today. Liang Shuifei also cooperated very well, cupping her hands, thank you Lord Longjun. Hey, what about my braid? It's all right, I've learned it recently. Xiao Sixen immediately cheered, good looking. I think your clothes are also very well matched today. It matches your temperament and shows your complexion. We Fei are indeed urban beauties who are at the forefront of fashion. Thanks to Xiao Daxing for the rainbow fart rocket, thank you. You're welcome. There is no news about this matter, Liang Shuifei knew it as an insider faxiao. Liang Shuifei stirred the coffee in the cup with a spoon, and asked curiously, are you really getting married? Xiao Xi nodded firmly. Liang Shuifei said with emotion, wow, so sudden. Xiao Sixen didn't nod her head this time. This is her second marriage and she was already mentally prepared. Liang Shuifei took a sip of coffee, hurriedly put down the cup, and asked enthusiastically, when's Haihan really brought up the matter of your marriage? Xiao Sixen, yes. Liang Shuifei, isn't Wen's Haihan, the one who went to a high school with you? Xiao Sixen, do you remember? Liang Shuifei, remember, didn't she write your name on a page? Xiao Sixen. She rubbed her forehead awkwardly. I don't need to remember this embarrassing past. Liang Shuifei thought of this and immediately went sip. I said, she doesn't like you, right? She has reason, if you don't like it, why did she write your name on a page? Xiao Xi raised her eyebrows and showed approval, yes, I dare to think. It seems that you don't remember what she did in high school, otherwise you wouldn't say such a thing. Liang Shuifei blinked innocently, I really forgot, what does she do? Xiao Sixen did not answer directly, but instead asked, do you know there is a joke on the internet? A asked B, your book is full of my name, do you like me? Guess how B answered? Liang Shuifei, how to answer? Xiao Sixen smiled. B said, idiot, I'm from the Discipline Inspection Department. Liang Shuifei, I take back what I said above, thank you. The author has something to say, the years I was locked by the Disciplinary Inspection Department, false title, don't believe it, xin, a woman who will never let herself become a joke. Thanks to the little angel who threw the mine, strawberry milk, come one, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 15 bottles of Ziohan Bai, 9 bottles of Dian Chen, 5 bottles of Bee-Eater exercise prayer, 2 bottles of Javan, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Xiao Sixen will never let herself become the A in the joke. Liang Shuifei dug out a small piece of matcha cake and put it into her mouth. Put down her fork and wipe her mouth, she said. I forgot, you were a bit rebellious in high school. She and Xiao Sixen have been in the same school since kindergarten, and they didn't separate until high school. Because in their third summer vacation, Xiao Sixen changed her body and became the eldest miss of the Xiao family, but this instead encouraged Xiao Sixen's rebelliousness in the first year of high school. Xiao Sixen supported her cheeks, her eyes were faint, and the smile on the corners of her lips was light and gentle. It's all in the past. She was not born in the wealthy Xiao family. Before the summer vacation of the third year of junior high school, she had always been a child of an ordinary family, without a father, and lived with her mother. Liu Lan loves her very much. She is obedient and well-behaved. Her life would be better without those classmates who pushed her out. Because she doesn't have a father, there are always a few people who are full and look down on her, and even spit out the word wild seed and scold Liu Lan. She was angry, broke out into fights, and held grudges. Not only those little beasts, but also the father. Since she was born, why not let her and her mother? Liu Lan also explained to her, but she explained it in a secretive way, and was always reluctant to tell her that her father was Xiao Hung, the successor of the famous Xia group. Liu Lan only said that it wasn't her father who didn't want them, it was her mother who didn't want her father. She is young and doesn't understand the twists and turns of the adult world. She stubbornly feels that her father doesn't want them anymore, and resentment grows in her heart, which makes her dislike this father whom she has never met. It is for this reason that after she returned to Xiao's house, she was indifferent to Xiao Hung for a long time. Xiao Hung didn't blame her, on the contrary, he was full of guilt towards her. So his doting on her has no boundaries, he wants the stars for the stars, the moon for the moon, and can't wait to hold the whole world in front of her. But Xiao Sixen still didn't accept him, the grievances she suffered were not so easy to eliminate. When she went to high school, Xiao Hung arranged for her to enter Shenglin Middle School, one of the best schools in Fengcheng. Shenglin has an excellent environment, a good style of study, strong teachers, and many children from rich families in Fengcheng. Wen Zihan is in it. Because of this grievance, and the rebellious period is coming, Xiao Ci began to take an unusual path in the first year of high school. But she was afraid that too many times would make Liu Lan angry, so she began to dance intermittently on the verge of violating the school rules. The school stipulates that she wears a school uniform, she occasionally wears it, and occasionally does not wear it. School regulations do not allow overturning, she occasionally overturns, occasionally not. Then she was caught by Wen's Haihan. Anyone from a rich family who violated the school rules? It doesn't matter, there are also rich children in the discipline inspection department, and they are the ones who are absolutely responsible. Using magic to defeat magic has long been learned by the school. Xiao Sixen looked at Wen's Haihan at that time, and even wondered if the disciplinary inspection department of the student union had a slogan called, "The disciplinary inspection department's eyes lock on you," so that every rebellion will never fail. Otherwise, how could she be caught by Wen's Haihan as soon as she rebelled? However, people always turn cowardly the moment they make mistakes and get caught, and Xiao Sixen is no exception. She also tried to bribe Wen's Haihan, using snacks, using beauty, and helping with homework, etc. Of course, no shit. Wen's Haihan, a competent officer and face of the disciplinary inspection department of the student union. The school's well-known half-blood, beautiful and gentle, and upright, almost didn't give her another bribe because of her bribery. So the one that should be remembered is still remembered, and the one who should look for the parents is still looking for the parents. However, Xiao Sixen knew that she was looking for Xiao Hung and not Liu Lan. After all, she was angry with Xiao Hung and complained precisely. And Xiao Hung did as she wished. She did not send an assistant to appear on her behalf. Xiao Hung always expresses his apologies calmly. After going back, Xiao Hung would always touch her head, not blaming her for embarrassing himself, nor blaming her for being rebellious, but just said softly, "Don't do anything that will hurt you." At that time, Xiao Heng didn't know how to be a good father. He has been absent from his daughter's life for more than 10 years. He knows that her daughter is angry with him and that she does not like him. He was guilty, bewildered, and at a loss. Fortunately, after that, Xiao Sixen did not do dangerous rebellious work anymore. The father and daughter are also very tacit, and no one tells Lu Lan what happened every time they go home. But the paper couldn't contain the fire, and Lu Lan finally found out. The mother and daughter had a long talk. She told Lu Lan about her grievances from childhood to adulthood, and Lu Lan confessed everything to her. There is no doubt that Xiao Heng loves them, but Xiao Heng's father doesn't like her daughter-in-law from ordinary background, so he put pressure on Xiao Heng a lot, asking them to divorce and ask him to marry another. Xiao Heng was unmoved, insisted on being with her, and was willing to leave the Xiao family for her and start from scratch. He does not regret his choice, nor will he compromise with his unreasonable father. But she doesn't want to. She was afraid that after Xiao Heng left the Xiao family, Mr. Xiao would continue to embarrass him by various means, making it difficult for him to do nothing. She didn't want Xiao Heng to bear all the pressure again and tell her that it was okay. She doesn't want to be a burden. She left, leaving only a divorce agreement. Not long after she left, she found out that she was pregnant. So she hid in the huge Fengcheng, gave birth to Xiao Sixen alone, and raised her to adulthood. Later, Xiao Heng took over the Xia group in an all-round way and became an excellent leader. His father could no longer restrain him. He didn't sign the divorce agreement, and he never gave up looking for Lu Lan, but he never thought about having a daughter. "Don't blame Dad, he didn't mean to be absent from your past," Lu Lan held her hand and said, "He loves you more than anyone else." Lu Lan said that Xiao Heng shed tears for the first time when she knew she had her daughter. He said that he was very happy, that the name Cixin was very nice, and he also said that when we meet, we must give her a good hug. But they did nothing when they met. Because Xiao Sixen stood there, looking at him like a stranger, alienated and full of alertness, and even a little hate. So he didn't do anything, so he didn't dare to do anything. Xiao Sixen knew that she had hurt Xiao Heng more than once invisibly. She doesn't even need to violate the school rules, she just needs to take a step back, which will make her father fall into deeper guilt and sleepless nights. Then the father and daughter made peace. Xiao Heng held her hand that day, pressed her forehead tightly, and said to her, "Xingxin, I'm sorry." 5 simple words, but she doesn't know why, but her heart hurts. Her father loved her more than she thought, and was sadder than she thought. That is, from then on, she no longer wanted to let her parents feel guilty about herself, and never wanted to hear that distressing "I'm sorry." So she will pull Wen's Haihan to play with her, and let her parents know that she is willing and happy to marry. She was very grateful that Wen's Haihan gave her this opportunity, and that Wen's Haihan was willing to cooperate with her. But her high school rebellion was so exaggerated. She thinks that she has been rebellious a few times, but she is afraid that this is just what she thinks. Maybe she has done something inadvertently that violated the school rules and was caught by Wen's Haihan. After all, she never recited the school rules, nor did she expect Wen's Haihan to memorize her name on a page. If she hadn't been caught by Wen's Haihan, she would have thought that Wen's Haihan was using her to practice calligraphy. If she likes it, she doesn't think so. She and Wen's Haihan were not even friends when they were in high school. They don't have each other's contact information, and they haven't even called their names. Wen's Haihan likes her? Wen's Haihan is gentle and kind, but this is not the reason for her narcissism. She is not an ordinary man. But she began to believe that she was really rebellious in that youth, so rebellious that she was reluctant to ask Wen's Haihan for proof. This is embarrassing too. Liang Shuafei thought about it, and suddenly felt very funny. I didn't expect that the member of the Discipline Inspection Department who remembered your name the most in high school is going to marry you now. Fate, it's really wonderful. I don't know if the two of them had thought about such a day when one of them violated the school rules and the other remembered each other's names. It's amazing. Xiao Sixen took a sip. Then I received a message from Wen's Haihan. Mr. Wen, are you free after work? Xiao Ci thought for a while. Xiao Sixen, yes, what's wrong? Mr. Wen, buy a ring. Xiao Sixen became interested when she saw that she was going to pick a beautiful ring. Xiao Sixen, listen to our President Wen's arrangement. Xiao Sixen, cute.jpg. Mr. Wen, then call me after work and I will pick you up after sending the message. Xiao Sixen put down her phone and began to look at her fingers. Her complexion is very white, her fingers are slender, with well-defined joints, she is very beautiful. She also has a group of fans. Liang Suifei felt puzzled when she saw her like this. What are you looking at? What do you want to buy again? Xiao Ci raised her eyebrows. Yes, you must buy something. Hey, I feel that my hand looks good in any style of ring. Liang Suifei, I can see that she is really happy in this marriage, and her recent state is really good. I have to say that once a person leaves the scum, his spirit and energy will indeed improve. Wen's Haihan went out to talk about the project after he arranged his itinerary. On the way back, she and her assistant Guanyan stopped by for a cup of coffee. After drinking, the two walked to the underground parking lot while chatting about work. Then I saw Xiao Sixen's manager Rongya and assistant Xiaxia. Rongya was impatient, as if she was teaching Xiaxia a lesson. One of them stared at each other, the other lowered his head, and neither of them noticed Wen's Haihan. Rongya said, your work attitude has been too problematic recently, do you not want to do it anymore? Senior and superior. Wen's Haihan had no intention of eavesdropping, and was about to continue walking to the parking space with Guanyan, when she heard Xiaxia say, I don't really want to do it anymore, isn't the Xiao family getting cold? Then she definitely can't go any further. Wen's Haihan gently stopped. Guanyan stopped. As one of the insiders of the marriage, Rongya was not easy to disclose until the Wen Xiao family released the exact news. She just found it funny. It turns out that this is the reason why you have been sluggish during this period of time? You just dislike the Xiao family's unstable backing. That's right, Xiaxia thought of her own future, and she also had some confidence. She raised her head and said, she is about to die, so why am I working so hard beside her? Anyway, in the end I'll go. Rongya does not like this kind of work attitude. Our also has to do your job well. Your messy thoughts pay for it. Xiaxia was startled by her sternness, and her confidence was a little weak. But she still wanted to go. She always felt that if the Xiao family was over, Xiao Sixen would definitely not be able to escape Liang's fate. She can't stay by the side of an artist who has no future, she still has a bright future. A good bird chooses a tree to live, and will go, she must go. Guanyan glanced at their direction, then turned to look at Wen's Haihan, President Wen. Xiao Sixen is not only the eldest young lady of the Xiao family, but also their future Mrs. Wen. With such a rambunctious subordinate around, it would be unreasonable not to deal with it. Seeing that Wen's Haihan's expression did not change, he walked straight forward. Come on, it's time to go back. The author has something to say. I didn't expect it, our heart treasure has a similar past. I didn't expect that, my parents are running literature with the ball, Bushy. I didn't expect it. This chapter is gone. Thanks to the little angels who threw mines, strawberry milk, dove day, sun, 301, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, Zhao 33 love liver 53 bottles, I'm so hungry 20 bottles, Sun Sanson's hammer 10 bottles, 541, Mr. Sun, housekeeper A's cat, time and space 1 bottle of stardust, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Xiao Sixen and Liang Suifei separated, followed by Rongya and others who came to pick her up to the shooting scene. Rongya still sat with her in the back row, and Xiaxia sat in the front passenger seat, but this time the air pressure in the car was inexplicably low. Xiao Sixen found that Rongya hadn't talked to Xiaxia very much along the way, as if she didn't want to pay attention to each other. Xiao Sixen's eyes went back and forth between the two, and she said tentatively, "What happened?" Xiaxia moved slightly, then turned back and said nothing. Rongya did not change her face. "It's a small matter, I'll tell you later, let's do the work first, the rest is not important." Also. After Xiao Sixen finished speaking, she raised her hand and touched her earlobe. "Why does she think this is thorny?" Rongya remembered something and said, "Zhou Hong was there when we were shooting the magazine, and this magazine also has her interview, and the magazine just arranged your shooting on one day. Each artist is more or less the same. There are some conflicts between artists, such as Xiao Sixen and Zhou Hong. Xiao Sixen and Zhou Hong debuted at the same time. Because of a change of roles, Zhou Hong suddenly hated Xiao Sixen and never dealt with her. Xiao Sixen was really wronged about that incident. She didn't steal or rob it. It was the director who came to her door with the script. She thought the book was good and agreed, but Zhou Hong decided it was her robbed her of the role. Xiao Sixen just felt speechless, and the director did not say that the role was set, so where did the word grab come from? But whether it was then or now, she doesn't care. Whether Zhou Hong is present or not is the same to her, at most there is one more bicker. Brightly lit shooting scene. Xiao Sixen raised her slender and snow-white arm, and carelessly brushed her long fluffy and soft hair to her right shoulder. She lightly bit the temples of the gold wire glasses in her hand, the wide white suit jacket fell on the elbows, and looked lazily at the camera, beautiful and sexy. The photographer complimented her on her good form. After taking a set of photos, she sat on the side playing with her mobile phone for a while, and waited for the staff to arrange it before continuing. Then Zhou Hong came over, dressed in red, tied with a high ponytail, and had a very aggressive makeup, so she sat beside her. Zhou Hong called her in a tone of voice, "Yo, Xiao Daxing." Xiao Sixen smiled, "Oh, it turned out to be Zhou Daxing. Aren't you next door? Why, you came to see me because you missed me." Zhou Hong said disdainfully, "Chi, who misses you so much?" Then she began to intentionally or unintentionally show the big diamond ring in her hand that was conspicuous enough to brighten the eyes of the blind, and while showing it, she secretly observed Xiao Sixen's expression. I saw Xiao Sixen looking at the big diamond ring with a surprised expression. Very good. Zhou Hong felt relieved. The character has not robbed Xiao Sixen, and her popularity is not as good as Xiao Sixen now, but it doesn't matter, her fiancé is a movie king. In this respect, she should be able to compare Xiao Sixen, a lonely and poor single dog. Zhou Hong always thought that Xiao Sixen was a child from a poor family, because Xiao Sixen didn't mention her parents and hid it very well. Why not mention it? A little bit because I feel that my family is too poor and shameful, I can't speak. People all have a vain heart and just want others to see their bright side. Xiao Sixen was surprised, this is your wedding ring. She doesn't really like the ring. Persistent pursuit of the size of diamonds, ignoring the workmanship and color, will damage the overall beauty, except to show the rich and tacky. She was surprised because Zhou Hong originally liked this style. Zhou Hong flung a ponytail proudly, yes, the engagement ring. Xiao Sixen calmly ducked to the side, escaping his face. Zhou Hong raised her eyebrows and sneered, why, have you never seen such a big and beautiful diamond ring, and are you jealous? Nice? Xiao Xi heard the words, held her hand, and looked at the diamond ring carefully. Seeing this, Zhou Hong thought she was opening her eyes to see the world, so she let her watch proudly, waiting for her to show her envious eyes and praise. After a while, Xiao Sixen still failed to understand her aesthetic. She put down her hand, patted her shoulder, and said in a soothing tone, it's okay, you just like it, don't care too much about other people's eyes. Zhou Hong, who felt deeply disgusted. You are so euphemistic. The author has something to say. What should you say when you and the other party disagree? Please watch today's update. Mr. Xiao teaches you to speak from today onwards. The number of words before V will fluctuate. For the sake of the list, I will write a little less, DEI, almost so little. Please understand. Ovo he woman, do you still think I wrote less yesterday? Evil smile. JPG. Thanks to the little angel who threw the grenade, can Xian have 2 girlfriends before the age of 30, thanks to the little angel who threw mines, Mariao, Utsuriki 1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 52 bottles at that time, 18 bottles of Qingshan Beishao, 15 bottles of civil affairs. Orange, 13 bottles of Can Xian have a girlfriend before the age of 30, 10 bottles, 9 bottles of 10 wines, 7 bottles of Yaya, 4 bottles of Tangli, 2 bottles of Xiaozhu, 1 bottle of Time Stardust, Yubahan, Hung, 541, 6 plus 1 equals 7, Butler A's Cat, thank you very much for your support. I will continue to work hard.